Hello, Tony. I like seeing faces. It's like I do a lot of responding to facial expressions and body language. So I have no problem with seeing videos and seeing people. It's like, so I know when they're like smiling and going with that saying, or when they start gasping like, ooh, did he just say that? It helps me gauge the room much better.
All right, let's get started. It is 5 after here on the East Coast, and I am very excited. Welcome to the Black Girls Hack Presents Bring a Hacker to Work Day. Our speaker today is Jayson E. Street. He is an author, a DEF CON Global Ambassador, as well as a hacker, which I think is the most important part to me and for us here at Black Girls Hack. So I'm excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, I've read a lot on your website, as well as, like, you know, the lures of the internet.
Yes.
But tell me about you and how you got to where you're at today.
Yes. I will definitely do that. I also have to say I am on a medication now. It's like for my ADHD, which probably will definitely change how I interact sometimes when I'm not like in full character, which I'm not today. And I also don't filter on the best of days. I've learned that it's like I've done that even less now. So it shows more about me being on the spectrum now than I was able to hide it before. But I'm happy with that. You said start where you go. This is this group here is not, to me, the way that my mind works is not the typical setting. It is not a conference organization. It's people who want to learn, people who may not be interested in the community, and so I don't do staged presentations. I don't do those kind of things. So, and when you say how you started, where you got into it, it's like I do believe that I think we need to talk more about how that, which is something that I've kept a lot different for me. It's like there's one talk, Tribe of Hackers, if you can see, where it's like I talk about a lot of things that I find unjust in the world. But I started out in Houston, Texas, a very poor on welfare family with a father and mother. Father, a very good-hearted man. Um, it's like who also was uh, very caring and very giving, and a very abusive mother who told me when I was 5 that she didn't make boys, that she should have taken the Mexican girl home from the hospital, which is saying something because most of my family was extremely racist. And so being in this poor environment, and I mean, like, I had a pour off one time with my friend when I was in my 30s, I believe. And the only reason why I lost it was because we had a cheese slicer for our block of government cheese that came in the gray box, and he had to use a butter knife, so he won. But I was that close to winning that challenge. And so that was my upbringing. It was very traumatic. I was abused in every kind of way imaginable. And I was homeless for a while. I dropped out of school. I became a janitor, one of the best janitors in the Southeast Texas region for 2 years in a row at McDonald's, because I've always believed if you're going to do a job, you do it the best you possibly can, no matter what that job is, even if it's not going to be your last job or your career for the rest of your life. You have to do a good job. And I'm proud of the people who do jobs. My son is looking for a job, and he's trying to find something, doing something like that, like a stock or something like that. So be the best ditch digger you can ever be. It's like, it's like, I don't care what you are. I'm proud of what you do and how you do it. So I finally got out of I escaped that house in an environment around in my 20s. And I was a horrible person after my 20s. I was raised to be a monster. That was the expectations. I mean, that's what all was expected of me. And quite honestly, I didn't expect to live to 20. So it's like, and trust me, people had tried to make that a reality. But but yeah, so it's like, so I did not know how to handle myself. It was around 25 that I realized, oh, I guess there's going to be a future or something involved, so I should start doing more. I got my faith back back then. It's like religion ruined it for me when I was younger. But then I got my relationship back with my faith, and so because I believe in relationship, not religion, and that helped me along and guide me to trying to be a better person. And I was an okay person in my 25s and 30s. I started my career in information security. In IT, I started in 95. I'm extremely old. It's like my professional job sort of was uh, a security officer. I was not a security guard. Security guards are the people who are collecting a paycheck and won't do anything. I was a security officer because I actually was those horrible, horrible security guys who actually believe in their job and actually believe in protecting the property and will challenge you and make your life miserable. And I got also worked on a gang task force for a while until I just got sickened by how officers act, and also getting shot at. Did not. It also was actually the last straw. I will be honest with you that a bullet, a 45 going bullet going 2 inches from your right head sort of makes you rethink career choices. And then I got into computers around 95 or 96, doing support and help desk, and I I did that so well they promoted me to manager, which was a mistake. I was a horrible manager. I am not good at managing people, and I'm not good at doing organizational tasks. And so that was a very bad career move. I've been in jobs before where I've been promoted um, to AVP of Information Security for a bank. And the only reason why I accepted that title was that I would not have any managerial responsibilities of any other people. I literally sat in the desk and told my boss at the time, I said, no, I can't. If you're going to promote me, it's like you can't put people under me. I'm terrible manager. I can't deal with other people's stuff. Look at the crap you have to deal with just dealing with me. That's horrible. I'm not going to do stuff like that. I can't handle that stuff. I mean, I don't know why you still here paying. I mean, they pay you must really good to be able to put up with this crap, but they're not going to be able to pay me enough to put up with that. And I'm not going to do it, and I'm not good at it. And he's like, you're still speaking out loud, Jason, because I have a problem sometimes. And I literally said, exactly, yes, I know. It's like, and look what you're having to deal with right now. So no, it's not for me. So they gave me the title, and I was the only high school dropout that was an officer of the bank, I think, in the bank's whole entire history. So that was hilarious. I did get a GED. I took all 6 tests in one day. I'm proud of that because it helps verify for me, it validates myself that it's like it wasn't because I was stupid. It was just because, you know, life situations. So then I got in 2000, I got out of the support game and I was doing desktop, especially the management game. And then I was doing desktop support for a corporation. And in 2000, Tim Smith, a wonderful gentleman, an amazing man who I owe my success to. If you can pinpoint a one person in your life who has changed your track of life, it would be him. He took me and told me about information security, computer security. And I was like, wait, I can get a job still working with computers, but I can still do security because I love securing people. I love it when bad people go to jail. It's like, and I can still do that. And it's like, and I don't get shot at. And I'm like, that's amazing. Of course, the funny thing now is the fact that it's like with my physical compromise of locations, I'm now back to the place of possibly getting shot at. I was literally working on a possible job for my company now, and they literally said up front there was a 20% chance of getting shot, which I found were pretty good odds. And I was totally going for that. It's like I love the unusual things. They turned that job down because it turned out it was part of an arms deal from America to the South American countries, and my company for some reason didn't want to do it. It's like because they didn't want to be attached to an arms deal. I thought it was amazing and just made it sound more fun. But they did not let me do that one. And I said it was only 20% chance. I've had a job fall through where it's like I was very interested in doing the Republic of the Congo, breaking into a bank there, which I thought would have been amazing. I also had a chance for an opportunity for a West African gold mine, which they would actually had to create this whole thing where they would actually had to fly me in the personal jet, so I was creating this whole backstory, but that did not fall. That fell through as well. But so in other words, I'm now back into the same situation, but I get to work with computers and do security. So that is fun. But more importantly, now that I've shifted my job, back in 2010, I went from the blue team side. I had a solid 10 years, a decade of blue team experience, but I looked at it like a hacker. It's like everyone in this chat, everyone that you've ever met was born a hacker. People forget that and don't understand it or comprehend it very well. But when you were born, you have the innate curiosity, that child, and we call it childlike curiosity of, well, that's what I was told this does, but can I make it do something else? My mother would constantly give me Hot Wheels cars. I think it was sort of a punishment because she knew I did not like the cars. It's like I did not like cars when I was young. It's like, but she didn't know what boys wanted and she didn't frankly care. So boys got Matchbox cars. I like spaceships. I like robots. I created robots out of blocks of wood. It's like, and I took the wheels off of my Hot Wheel cars and turned them into hovercraft and spaceships. So it's like I hacked the situation that I was in. Uh, People who don't identify as hackers anymore are the ones that have just lost that childlike curiosity. They've lost that passion. It's like that is the only thing. It's like when you come to me and you say, I want to be a hacker, I'm like, you, that can't be gate kept. It's like people try 100%, they try to gatekeep it, but that can't be gate kept. It's like freaking Da Vinci was a hacker. There was no computer back then. It's like he was an Uber hacker. He created a flying machine. He created an armored car. He created scuba gear. It's like Ada Lovelace. If you want to talk about computers, she was one of the founding hackers of the world that was involving computers because she created the first computer language. It's like, I mean, all these other hackers are the ones that change things. Turing was a hacker. Tesla was a hacker. Edison, yeah, but still, it's like you've got all these different hackers out there, but we just call them by different names. But it all has the same thing: that passion and that curiosity. That is what defines a hacker, nothing else. I don't need a computer to define me. I don't need a programming language. I don't need a gender or an ethnicity or a particular shade or religion or cultural place where I was happened to be born randomly on this planet to constitute or make me more qualified to be a hacker. You're just a hacker. And then I started, so I did that blue team to around for about 10 years. And then I started trying to do the red teaming thing. And my life is nothing but a lessons learned from just mistakes. It's like I now refer to it, and I like the way Lecrae says it in one of his songs. It's like I take the L, but it's a lesson, never a loss. So it's like, and that really sticks with me because that's what those L's always were for me. They were lessons. It's like sometimes I'm my worst biggest enemy. I've always been. It's like, I mean, I literally was raised to hate everything about my existence and the fact that I existed. And I still fight with that, but I'm doing better at managing it. But the but I learned. It's like, and I just tried to be better. It's like I knew I was never going to be better than all these other people out there. So I just tried to manage the best that I could. So when I started doing blue teaming, and the reason why I brought that up is because when I started doing blue teaming, I sucked at it. I brought in the mentality of a blue teamer as my time in security and law enforcement. So I dealt with users like they were future perps. I dealt with them like they were like people that were about to abuse the company policy, that they were going to go and do something wrong, or like they were in fresh. It was horrible. The first 2 or 3 years, I was the worst blue teamer probably in existence at that time. I hope so, because if there were people worse than me, they should have left the field. And it's like, so I did a talk, and I'm not going to go too much about all the mistakes, but it's like, but I did a talk that's available on my website as well. It's like I did a curated version of the ones that make me cringe the least. I've only done one talk in my whole entire life that I'm actually super really proud of, that how it went through with the execution, and that was my DEF CON 22 talk on what it means to be a hacker. All the other ones are less cringeworthy. The Tribe of Hackers is also definitely a good one, but it's literally I cringe at how I said things. I cringe at how I look. I cringe at how I presented. It's like, so I mean, I look at the YouTube comments sometimes, and I'm like, dude, I say worse things about me before 10 a.m. than you could even think of. It's like, you think that's what it's like. I mean, some of them are actually pretty comical. And I do that usually when I'm just feeling bad about myself and I'm punishing. But it's like, so I try. Rule number 1 of the internet: never Google rule 34. Rule number 2 of the internet: never read the comments. Rule number 3 of the internet: never ever reply to the comments. And rule number 4: always remember rule number 2 and 3. So because those are the ones that will get you in more trouble than rule number 1. So yeah, so those are available in there. But so I did a whole talk on my fails that you can see there. And then when I got into red team, guess what? I screwed that up too. It was about, because of my imposter syndrome and because of my feeling of self-esteem. I don't have people talk about low self-esteem. It's like I would kill for some low self-esteem. It's like, what is it like to have self-esteem? It's like, I've heard some people describe it, and it's like, well, that sounds nice. It's like, I might get there someday. So it's like, so yeah, I had to prove that I was the best red teamer. I had to prove that I could pwn them, because if I didn't do damage to them, if I didn't break into their systems, if I didn't exploit them, then they weren't getting their money's worth. I wasn't showing that I was good at it. And at that time, during that time period, around 2010, 2011, I had bullies coming at me from the community that were like harshing on me, that were that didn't want me there, didn't thought that I was being a fraud, thought that I was a faker, thought that I was trying to act like I was something that I wasn't, when I was genuinely, this is what I wanted. And so it was disturbing to me. And so I started. It was not until like I think 2012 that I started getting peace with the bullies. There's still an incident that happened in 2011 that I talked to my children about when it comes to about bullying and what happened to me, and so they would understand that it still happens. And then I think it was around 2015 or 2016. I had a revelation during a red team, and it was the last red team that I actually did because I was doing an engagement where I had compromised a person by following them in. I did a piggyback into their place. It was very sophisticated the way I did it. I was hiding behind a corner and I had my leg up for too long. So when you start walking, so as soon as you hear their noise, you can put your foot down and it makes your gait look like you were already in motion. Then if you had stopped from because it's about how the mind works subconsciously is what I work on. I've not had any professional training on any of this. This was survival instincts when I was younger and on the street, because you had to read people. Am I going to get in trouble today? It's like, is my life in threatened, or is this person in a good mood so I'm less likely to be punished? It was just an innate ability for me to read people that make me good at what I do. It's like if you want a professional, you talk to Chris Hagnaggy. If you want professionals, you talk to people like that actually know the things, the science, and they know how to read and what they're doing. Mine is all instinct. So I changed that gate. So it's like, and I walked in, and I just walked in right behind them. There was another door for employee door on the other side of the corridor that they couldn't see. So they assumed that I was just coming from one side to the other. And it's a secured facility. This was a government facility. So I had to get in, and they questioned me as soon, not with their mouth. I read their body language. I read their facial expression. They knew they made a mistake, and I saw that, and I saw that on so many faces before. They knew they made a mistake. So I go left, they go right. It's like I compromise one machine. I go into another office. I compromise another machine. I'm coming out, and I'm walking down the corridor, and about two doors in front of me is my exit. Down the hallway is that lady talking to another lady at a desk, and they're both standing up, and she's looking at me, and now the other person is looking at me. And there it is. If I walk further down this hallway, I will get caught. I will lose. I will show that I'm not very good. If I just take two doors down and go right, I've escaped. I won. And so I went forward, walked past the two ladies like, hi, how you doing? Kept going, went to another desk and compromised them. While I was compromising that one, this guy comes in and terrifies me like he's going to rip my head off. This was like, a government facility. He could have done it. He was built way better than I was, and it's like, and he exercised. It's like I did a lot of running at WoW at the time. My character had a lot of armor on. I don't know if that counts for my calorie burnt, but yeah. So I did everything he said. It's like he wasn't listening to anything. They did everything right. And now that woman who made that mistake got redemption. She learned the lesson without the resentment, without the regret. And that's when I started doing security awareness engagements. I never did a red team after that. It's like, it's stipulated to every customer that I talk to now that at some point in this engagement, I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get caught. I'm teaching a black hat class on how to get caught, how to break in, how to rob, and then how to talk to the people afterwards. Because every person that I compromise, I come back to after I successfully escape. and I explained to them what I did and what was wrong and how they weren't at fault and how they will not be in trouble and how this was a training exercise, not a pass fail test. And so they did not fail. They learned. And that's the difference of what I do. I am not in competition with any red team company in the world. It's like, because I don't do that. It's like I subcontract with other companies who want that kind of lesson in their red team. It's like, because that's all that I do. It's like, I like robbing people and I like breaking into places and I like being the worst thing to happen to them in the worst possible way, in the worst possible scenario. But I like it because it makes them understand it and be more secure. And then I like educating them on those things. And so that's what I do. It's not like any other thing. I've never seen that anything else. It's like our taglines at our company is defense through discovery, because I give you that. It's like I give you the defense because I help you discover vulnerabilities that you didn't have before. And then the other part of that hashtag is security through awareness. And I give you better security because I make your users, employees aware of the actual threats they're facing. So I think we need more of that in this industry and this community. And also in the last, I think the last part I will talk about, I think one of the last part is like in this community, it's like I've also seen a lot of things. So I've gotten more active in voicing my disdain for the current society and where we're at now. It became very polarized and very politicized when I don't think it should be. It's like we like to think that racism is a political thing. It's like we want to think that racism is something about politics, like one party is racist and another party is not. And I had a conversation with my daughter. She's 15. She wears, through the whole pandemic, she was wearing a BLM mask in sign language with all the different shades of emoji hands spelling out BLM. Because, you know, most, I mean, the deaf racists probably would not be that passive, and the regular racists are probably too stupid to understand what it was. So she wore that and she had conversations, and it created conversations, which is what it's supposed to do. And she was approached by someone who was white, and they told her, it's like, yeah, but I've had people be racist toward me. It's like, and judge me because I was white. How is that different? And she asked me because she didn't understand. And I explained to her, I said, this is the difference. The difference is I've gone to other countries. I've experienced in this country. I've gone to different parts of this country where I was an outsider, where I had certain individuals treat me badly because of my skin color. That individual was racist, and I had a racist experience with that person. I live in a society that is built on systemic racism. The whole country, the government, the laws penalize certain people in this country based on the color of their skin, not just their ethnicity. It's like, that is the difference. What you're upset about and what you want to fight is the inherent systemic racism that's built into this society. It's like you can't change sometimes those individual minds because they see their one experience as the whole thing. They don't understand the laws and the penal system that is used as slave labor now. They don't see how the funneling is, how the charges of one crime is different for one person than the other, and it is not fair. They do not see the fact that when you have an experience in government, when you have an experience with the law, your viewpoint and your living experience is dramatically different than someone else. And it's dictated because of the color of your skin. It's like I'm one of those people, it's like, who sound cliche because I don't believe in race. And that's only because, not because I'm colorblind or some other kind of excuse we like to use. It's because race actually doesn't exist. That was something that was created back in the, I think 17 or 1800s, to also probably better justify slavery. Ethnicity. It's like, I am not a European American. I am not Caucasian. I am an American of a lighter skin color, and that's my ethnicity. It's like my race is human. It's like, how much melatonin does not dictate that. It's like, it's always weirded me out, the whole thing about a white supremacist, because of the fact that you do realize, if I put you in an environment that these other races you think are inferior, would live in and prosper in the deserts of the Sahara or Africa, or in the wild, and I put you in that with the same kind of conditions as it was way back when we first originated from there, how long are you going to be superior and survive with the sun beating down on you? It's like with you being sunburned and your the radiation poisoning from all the ultraviolet rays being unfiltered because you don't have enough melatonin in your skin. All your children dying from exposure as soon as they're born. How's that going to work out for you? It's like humans, especially Caucasians and European, they created the environment to fit their physiology, not the other way around. And so that always, and also I like to give them a map, because if you look and justify your religion based on ethnicity, take a look at where the Old Testament happened. Take a look where the New Testament happened. Closest thing you get to a white Caucasian person in the Bible were the Romans. And I don't think they played a very great part in what occurred to Jesus. So yeah, I really think that's like, I would just like to show, and that's ignorance. I believe ignorance can be educated. Ignorance can be changed. It's like, and because people are born ignorant of a lot of things. I still have a lot of things that I'm ignorant about and that I can't talk about. I don't feel comfortable talking about because I don't know. I've turned down press people reaching out to me in the press or for panels saying, "Can you talk about this subject?" I said, "No, I don't know this." I wish more of the people that represent us would, take that opportunity to think about that too and say, "No, I'm not qualified for this. I shouldn't be running my mouth right now at the moment." But yet here we are. So I think that's a key thing as well. It's like that we actually talk about that. It's like just not what we know and what we've experienced, but the understanding that I can't experience certain things. No matter how much I love my children, I will not experience what they're going through. I will never see what my feel what my daughter is going through. And I hate that people say, it's like, "Well, I believe in women's rights because I have a daughter or a mom or a sister." No, that's not the case. You believe in women's rights because they're human. It's like, it's the same thing with trans rights. It's like gay rights, any other kind of rights you want to talk about. It's another human. You don't dictate how another meat robot, wants to adorn themselves, who they want to, partner with, or how they want to live their life if it's not harming somebody else or other meat robots. Because quite frankly, that is my firm belief of what we are. It's like, I have a consciousness. I have me, my personality, my soul is Jayson E. Street. This is the robot that I operate with. And this is the way I look. And some people like to get it painted. Some people like to put, metal adornments or other adornments or, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's their meat robot. Leave them alone. It's not messing with you. So, yeah, I'm weird and I think weird. And I'm okay with that. And so I do also ask you to, I will answer all questions. And I will tell you this as a warning, because other people challenged me on it and they regretted it, I think, by the end of it. I will not filter I will not lie. And I get paid to lie for a living. It's like, so I don't do it for free. I literally forgot to pay for some swim trunks at Walmart yesterday. It's like, and when I was leaving, I noticed them on there and I didn't remember. It's like scanning it, and I had a panic attack. It's like, and I was like, oh, I didn't, I don't think I paid for this. And I went immediately back to the cashier and I was like, can you check my receipt? I don't think I paid for this. It's like, I need to pay for this, and had them look at it. And then as I was leaving, it's like, and I hadn't paid for it. So I paid for it. I felt horrible. It's like, so I paid for it and I was leaving, and the person I was with was looking at me like a little strange. And it was like, yeah, I don't like this. I'm not going to steal. I don't like stealing. It's like, that's not good. I mean, I get paid to steal. It's like, I mean, I like stealing, but I have to be paid first for it. It's like, I don't do that for free either. So that was something else I found out that I don't do for free. It's like, so, I mean, I will manipulate things every once in a while because I'm human and that's what I like to do. Just like anybody else, I like to find an advantage. So I've gained systems. I've done those as well. And when I travel, it's like I broke many laws in many countries on a lot of different things that are some stories that I can share and can't share online, but have no problem telling in public. Some of the stuff is the statute of limitations or over, and others I'm probably not going to be able to go back to that country, and we just don't discuss Paraguay at all. So that's about it. Please open up the questions, and with that warning in mind, fire away.
Absolutely. That is absolutely dope. I definitely appreciate it. I think the squad as well appreciates your honesty. I guess one of the things that you pointed out for me was that you had haters, I guess, very early in your your career before you transitioned from I guess the red team into
Yes.
what you do now. What do you think that was about? Do you think it was just a skill level issue, or what do you think is causing the I guess the 20% chance of you having to deal with somebody bothering you just in life in general? What do you think that hate is about?
Well, besides ignorance, it's like, if you're talking about especially people like you having to deal with this in the workplace and working environments, it's like, it is I think one of the biggest problems in our culture, it's like right now, and I'm talking for my ethnicity, is the fear. Because people that we have considered minorities, if you look around and you see what's going on, they're not the minority as much as they used to be. It's like things are changing. And I said this in my Tribe of Hackers talk. If you're a white person and you're afraid of becoming a minority in this country, then you're just admitting to yourself you know how bad we treat minorities now, and you just don't want that to happen to you. So my advice is maybe stop letting it happen now, and then it'll be better in the future for everyone. But people don't like to think about that. We don't like, and this is a human species thing, not an ethnicity or a culture thing, because this is cultures all over the world, in countries from every continent that I've been on. Humans do not like to think of something bad occurring to them or something bad happening to them. 1941, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, a private manning the radar station saw trains coming, trains, that would have been something definitely he would have said something about, saw planes coming in toward Hawaii. And they were coming in an unusual vector that was not expected. He reported it to his supervisor. His supervisor looked at it and said, those are probably the training planes coming in from California, just veering off for weather or something. It's like, disregard. Japanese blitzed all of Pearl Harbor. They had the warning to start, but I would rather think it was something benign, something harmless. That is the reason why when we see things that occur on television, we're like, oh yeah, but that could never really happen here, or that's not something that I can relate to. So that's got to be a one-time occurrence. Have you ever noticed that quiet neighborhoods are the most deadliest in America? It's like, have you ever noticed it's like a quiet neighborhood? Nothing usually goes on here. We didn't know that he had a hidden basement. It's like, it's like he was a quiet guy, kept mostly to himself. It's like, I like to be in loud urban environments. I think those are safer. It's like, it's always the quiet neighborhoods that something bad happens because we never expect it, because we don't want to expect it. It's like when you see the horrible injustice of people being shot for no apparent reason. It's like, and the only reason, let's be honest, is the color of their skin. It is because of the prejudice of the person who's shooting. I worked 3 years on a gang task force. I have pulled out my gun. I have pointed it at another human being, and I have never shot someone. I had the closest I ever came to it was a 14-year-old child. It's like, who had done nothing wrong, who was hiding other things because his friends ran from the police, so he thought it'd be a good thing too. And I literally, as I was pulling the trigger, I screamed out one last time, please don't make me kill you. Let me see your hands. And that's when he started raising up. It's like, and then he raised his hand. He didn't raise his hands first. I still did not shoot because I was not a coward. Any officer with a badge whose first response is to take the life of another person is a coward. And any officer who backs that cowardness is a disgrace. I am so harsh on law enforcement, not because I don't like them. It's because I expect better from them. I think law enforcement is definitely needed. I think we need someone to call. I always met people on their worst day. Something horrible happened to them, and so I had to show up. Or something bad's about to happen to them because I just showed up. Either way, it was one of the worst days of their life. And that drains on you. That is not an excuse to end a life because you felt threatened. When you have other devices that you could do, when you panicked, that is not an excuse. We don't need to abolish the police. We need to actually teach them. Give them more than a couple of months. Spend as much time on the range as they do in counseling. Spend more time in the community without a weapon, patrolling, and seeing what that community they're going to be patrolling is like before they get a weapon. We need to educate. We need the police. We need the fire departments. We need EMTs. We need to start paying them what they're worth, not we can get away with. The one thing this pandemic has shown us is that a teacher is a lot more of an essential worker than an NBA player. That a stocker at Walmart is 10,000 times worth more than an NFL player. It's like we haven't understood that, and we haven't learned that lesson. 2020 taught us lessons. It's like, but we didn't seem to learn that one. But yes, we need all these people, but we need them educated. It takes 2 years for a person to be a cosmetologist, licensed cosmetologist in Texas. 6 months to get a badge, carry a gun, and possibly into life. I see something wrong with that, especially when the cosmetologist has the opportunity to be making more money. Police officers work extra jobs all the time. They are on a grind all the time. because their salary does not cover the way that they can live. But we don't want to face that either, because that's also trying to think that we're taking sympathy to them. No, it's not being sympathetic. It's being human and understanding that, unfortunately, the world is not always just wrong and right. We have to understand that there is a truth that we will never see, because that truth is what I perceive and what you perceived. And the truth is actually what occurred. And we will never experience that because we will never see that truth. It's like, because we have our different experiences witnessing the same event. So that's the biggest problem. It's like, so when you're in the tech place, when you're in the tech world, I'm actually getting back around to the question. I'm sorry. I rant and I will go as long as I can go, as long as y'all kick me out. But the tech world is the same way. One of the uncomfortable truths we don't like to talk about in this industry is, let's be real for a second. Well, actually, that's all I am. So it's like the technological sector, computers, programming, all that was a woman industry. Women founded the technology industry. It was women and people of color women, all of them together. It was all shades of women who put men on the moon, who founded and created NASA and got NASA going. Not founded and created NASA. It's like, that's an exaggeration. When I get passionate, I also exaggerate. But they actually made those things possible. When also Bletchley Park, Turing was a great helper of encrypting the Enigma machine, with a lot of help from the Polish that we seem to forget all the time because British. And it's like, but also because of all the women that were there actually doing the menial computer task, working and programming and getting all that stuff in there. And he was a gay man. So of course, after his things was to be chemically castrated, so he committed suicide, so he couldn't do it. But that's okay now, because we got him on a pound note. So no harm, no foul. It's like Hedy Lamarr, the famous actress. Oh, she was pretty. The reason why you have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth is because of Hedy Lamarr. The reason why the military back then had better communications on submarines during wartime was because of that actress. And that's what we refer to as the actress, because that's the role we're comfortable with now. Men don't like to understand the uncomfortable truth that those weren't training planes, that women aren't trying to get into security. They're trying to find a place to come back to, because we took all of that from them. It's like, it's the same thing with other cultures, and it's the same thing. It's like, well, where did all the Indians go? The indigenous people had genocide committed against them. It's like, that's where they're at. They're in graves and unmarked graves throughout this country. It's like, we just don't want to admit it. It's like, when you give them more land, it's like, you're not giving them land, you're allowing them a space to be there. We need to stop allowing women to be in this space and understand it's not our space to allow anybody. It is the space. Back in the 60s, when you saw people, I used this picture, and it was this white woman sitting at a counter drinking a milkshake. And there was a woman of color right next to her drinking a milkshake. And that white woman looked like someone pissed in that milkshake. There was some cat turds in it. It was disgusting. The face all scrunched up like, ugh. And that's the whole point. Your milkshake doesn't taste different because there's someone else. This is not pie. Allowing more women and people of color into this industry does not detract from what you have. They're not taking pie. It's like infinite pie if it's any kind of pie. I mean, who doesn't love pie and who doesn't love, infinity pie? So we have to stop thinking that narrow-minded set that if I give someone something materialistically in a physical realm, then I do not have that anymore. We're not talking like that. It's logistical. In my training class, I talk about several other people about who do amazing good work. I mentioned Dave Kennedy in his class at Black Hat that I've gone to, was an amazing class. You know why? Because I'm not competing with him. I can be honest and say when other people have good services and refer people to other people with good services. There's business for everybody. We are underfunded and we are understaffed in this industry. We need more people. And quite frankly, a lot more people that we need are more diversity, because you can't, just like in defense, and I will do this with no colors at all, except for blue and red. Okay, those two colors. So I'm bringing colors in it. But the blue team, my first 10 years as a blue teamer, I brought in defenses. Like if I every place I was, the way I was born, it's like I was like, oh yeah, I committed a lot of crimes back when I was little. Nothing like really major, but it's like I needed that to survive. I mostly stole food when I was younger. But the whole thing is, statute of limitations definitely passed out. I was a minor, and I'm a better person now. But the whole thing, when I was a blue teamer, I would always look at that. When I was in security, I always look at a place that I was about to secure. How would I rob them? How would I totally jack that? How would I like get that out of here? It's like, and then I would try to find a way to secure it. But then when I was a blue teamer, I realized, and I was building infrastructure and architecture and working with designs and doing all the technical aspects that I deny myself now, but I'm trying to get back into. I forgot that I needed to test those defenses. It's like, I needed to look at it more like, well, how would I actually break that in? It's like, and some of the stuff I did pretty good. I did some defenses in this one company that is just amazing. It's like every user hated me. I was the bane of existence. You couldn't do port 80 to the desktop. It's like, I'm very proud of that one. It's like, also it's like you had to have internet stations if you want to go to unfiltered, unfettered access, which we weren't responsible for, of any ponage that you did on those machines. But mother, your desktop's company property. It's like, that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be on Facebook on company property. You shouldn't be on that other stuff on company property. This was before iPhones. I'm old. But I started, and then around 2008, 2009, I started realizing I needed a diverse opinion. I needed a different opinion. Yes, my stuff, I liked it, but I was building it as a defender. I did not see how a red teamer would see that same technology. That's why we need diversity. There are facial recognition systems that can't even register a person of color on the screen. That's a problem if there's a door entry system, which I think that's actually occurred before. We need more diversity in tech. We need more people from different walks of life, not excluding the Caucasian ethnicity, or it's like people from this country of paler skin, because they come from different walks of life. You look at a person that looks like me from Texas, and then a person that looks like me in New York or California or Seattle or even Florida. It's like you're going to get a different perspective and a different person. It doesn't matter what this looks like. People, especially Americans, it's like, because we hardly like to look outside of our country. which is depressing onto a whole other rant. And we look at, and you like, one of my biggest ones is China. You look at China and it's like, China's doing this, China's doing that. Do you realize, especially in the hacking culture, you've got two major regions of China. You got the northern hackers and the southern hackers. Southern hackers, more Western, more westernized, more mobilized. It's like, more capitalist oriented. Shanghai is a very Western cultural city. It's like it's one of the key points of our economies. Northern China, Beijing, and all the northern areas are more politicized. They're more hacktivist. It's like, those different kinds of hackers, but both of them extremely technical capable, both of them extremely amazing, kind, understanding, and wonderful hackers. If you get the government out of the way of it and the imaginary little line that everybody likes to go through and talk about, it's like, I have gone all over the world. I've never seen a border. It's like, and I'm stealing I'm bastardizing a quote from Thor, a Norwegian explorer, and he said something like, "Yeah, I've heard of borders. It's something that exists in people's minds, but I've never seen one." It's like, it's just like when I say I've never met a foreigner. I'm serious. I was afraid of traveling for my first time. It's like, but I'd never met a foreigner. I've never saw anybody that was foreign to me. You go sit on a street corner in the morning in Beijing, in Cairo, it's like in Delhi, in Johannesburg, in Detroit, in New York, in Houston, in Tampa. And you know what you see? You see shopkeepers opening up their shops. You see people going about their business. People dropping their children off to school, kids walking the streets trying to play. You see tourists, you might see the tourists, but you see people doing you don't hear people doing and espousing politics or foreign countries or talking about fear. And you don't see that. You see people doing business and doing one thing that unites this whole planet, just wanting to live. A white person in this country, a black person in this country, a woman in this country, a man in this country, a non-binary, indie gender, they all want one thing. It just comes down to one thing. They just want to live and live their life and be happy with it. That's it. That's the unifying thing of our creation. Our meat robots are also wired to be good and want good. It's like sometimes we get bad input. And sometimes after our manufacturing, we're still in the testing and lab phases and beta test, through our first, 10 to 16 to 18 years, where we're learning all the things. But if we have bad programmers and we have bad programming and a bad environment to learn the routines, then we have no choice but to repeat those until we can discover a better code and discover a better way. It's like, it turns out, luckily, I never smoked alcohol. I never smoked a drug. I've never taken drugs or smoking, drink alcohol or anything like that. I never did that. And I did it mostly out of rebelliousness. It's like I was a rebel. It's like because everybody else was telling me that I needed to do that. And the more someone told me that I needed to do something, the less likely I was to do it. And I think that's the only reason why I didn't end up in prison as a serial killer. I would have been an amazing serial killer. But it's like, it was actually the reverse thing to me. I abhor violence. I hate actually I've literally been in fights before. I've been in a lot of fights. I've had to draw blood. I've had blood drawn on me. It's like, but I still remember one of my fights when I was around 10 or 11. And it's like, and I was crying through the whole thing. And people are like, called me a baby and called me, I beat the guy senseless because he wouldn't stop. And I was crying because he kept making me hit him and hurt him. And I did not like that. And anybody who enjoys those things, I can't watch YouTube videos showing fails and people getting hurt. That doesn't bring me joy. Seeing someone else's misery or someone else's failure or pain like that they weren't expecting that does not bring me joy. That should not bring people joy, but we condition ourselves and programs ourselves for that. Imagine how much more if we start programming our smaller meat robots to enjoy seeing people happy, seeing other people that they will never be, responsible for, or maybe meet again, have a bright day or something happen. A tradition in our house was at one point was we would find someone that was had lesser means, that just we knew someone that was hurting or having some financial problems during Christmas, and I would make the kids pick toys out that they would want for Christmas, and then they would wrap them up, and then we would leave, and we on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day we would anonymously leave that stuff, and then maybe with some money on that person's doorstep, and they would never know to this day that we were the ones that did that, because that's what it is. It's supposed to be about the giving, not receiving. And people have lost that in the commercialism. So it's like, but that's how we program. We program our smaller units wrong. And then when we get mad, when they start repeating the same patterns they saw in us that we were teaching them, because no, you weren't supposed to see me when I was training. I was supposed to train you with all these things. Yeah, it's like, it's one thing to read the manual and give them the RTFM, but when they see you in production and they see you and actually how you operate, that's what they mimic. And I ran it on again on something else. Sorry.
Oh, no, not a problem at all. So I think that, these days, I love the absolute life experience that you're giving us and the life advice that you're giving us. So if someone wanted to get into your field, it sounds like you're doing maybe more of a physical security,
yes.
And maybe the more physical parts of like penetration testing these days.
Right.
How would you say that they go about, getting involved in that? How do you get experience? Yes. How do you get a job doing that?
That is a very good topic we should be discussing. Yes, I totally appreciate that one. So yes, I got lucky. I was blessed. It's like, this is not, I have skill and talent that I need to start admitting more to myself. But in also honesty, no, I was blessed and lucky to get the opportunities that I have. It's like, I always pray. When I pray for opportunities. It's like, Lord, thank you for the opportunities that I didn't take and that my life is worse for it. But thank you for the opportunities that you did give me and that I made something out of. It's like, because I think that's one of the keys. It's like, it's not a slot machine when you pray. It's like, sometimes you get opportunities, and it's what you make of it. So, but what I can tell people now, and I have a website called iRonin, IRONIN.com, because I'm just a hacker. I'm like an old school hacker with mentality, and other old school hackers, trust me, don't judge them based on me, because they think I'm stupid putting all names and numbers in my words and everything still. But iRonin.com is actually got a tab called the Getting Started page, which is a resource on how to get into information security, because I thought that was something that we were sorely missing. So there are some resources on there besides what I will talk about, and probably from better people, better qualified to help you with that. But my main advice, if you're trying to get into this industry, you should be on social media, and you should follow the right people and the right hashtags. Hashtag InfoSec jobs. Hashtag Marcus J. Carey is an amazing advocate and amazing leader in our industry, in our community. And he is nothing but holds up to the ideals that I aspire to be, as like a being of service to others, because that's also another true marker of a person's faith, not how much hate they can give toward other people that are not like them, but the ways that they can be of service to others, even those they don't look like or agree with. And he is an epitome of that. That is the ideal of to be. So look for those look for the helpers, look for the people that are trying to help others facilitate jobs. Leslie Carhart, Hacks for Pancakes, doing resume workshops. You've got Miss Batts working for workshops. You've got Ella Punk, who talks all the time about being new in the career and starting different careers, and how to manage that and being honest with those journeys. Those are the people you follow, the people who aren't trying to sell you something or trying to be something or show that they're better, but people that are showing you that they need help and that they don't mind helping others. Jayson Blanchard, I think he's Bango something Mojo or Crashland Banjo, or I think there's a banjo somewhere related into that, not in the creepy, deliverance kind of way. But he does amazing live streams on resumes and working on that. But the one piece of advice I can give someone, because everybody always wants to be red team. Oh, Jayson, how do I get in red team? How do I get into pen testing? It's like, I need to be a pen tester. And I'm like, no, you don't. That's no. Okay. Everybody wants to break things, because breaking things are easier. And I look so sexy out there breaking into places and I'm robbing. No. Do you know where the real work is? The real steadiness, the real need for heroes are? Blue team. From an economical standpoint, I'm actually looking at the camera, the support. From the economical standpoint, starting out in blue team is better for your career, your finances. It's like your education, everything. Learn how to build it first. Learn the bureaucracies involved in corporate management and corporate IT. Learn how all those things function. Learn how the networking and the infrastructure is based and built and protected. Then, after 5 or 10 years of doing that, well, now you have a good blueprint on how to break things, right? It's like, now you know how the stuff works. Now you know what the usual response time is for an incident when you're trying to go somewhere. It's like, use that skill that you were as a blue teamer and then use that as a red teamer. Use that to show the vulnerability. There are no rock stars in this industry at all. There are people that I consider legends. And I mean legends as in legendary. Their stories will still be told after their passing. Dan Comiskey was a legend. Adam Laurie is a legend. FX from Phenolit is a legend. Marcus J. Carey is a legend. Not because of just what they know, it's because of what they share. It is because of how they are and how they interact and provide to the community. Dave Kennedy is a legend. Look at all the tools that he creates freely available to everyone to use. There's so many other people, Mubix, Darren, MG, all people giving out tools, giving out ways to help for the community to make it better. Don't try to be a rock star, try to be a legend. It's like, we are glorified dentists. That's what we do. It's like, we tell people things they don't want to hear. You got to brush every day. It's like, you got to make sure your systems are patched. It's like, well, you should be flossing. You should be using antivirus, or you should be using another piece of layer for defense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to come back and check every quarter to make sure everything's looking good. It's like, and may have to do a cleaning, where we do a pen test or do an audit, and those are always painful. Trust me. It's like, there's a certain kind of person that's a dentist for cleaning plaque, but that's neither here nor there. But Also, you know, another thing that we have in common with dentists more than anything else? Think right now. What's your dentist's name? What was your last dentist's name? Who the knows? To the person that works on my mouth. Why should I care? I don't care until it's time for me to have to go and visit them again. If there's a cavity, if I've got a toothache, that dentist is very important for me when there's a breach, right? When something happened. Yes, that dentist is the most important person in the room. Otherwise, they go in the closet. We have so much technology now and advancements in oral hygiene and oral care. It's like the person who invented the Invisalign braces. He's got his own Wikipedia page, probably got books, millionaire. I'm sure he goes to dentist conventions all over the world with other dentists going like, I love how you, that was such an amazing talk. It's like, that was just, you revolutionized the industry. Can I get a selfie with you? It's like, oh, thank you very much. You know what happens when he leaves that conference? He's an effing dentist. I actually knew his name for a talk at one point, and now I forgot because I don't care. He's a dentist. He's a millionaire. He will be more successful in his life than I'll ever be. But he's still a dentist. I travel all over the world and I talk to people and I try to change people and I try to make things better and secure things better. I'm still a dentist. I'm not known outside of this industry, hardly at all. Some people may have seen me on the news. They may have seen me on a show here or there. But I'm not anybody. I am just like everybody else in this chat who see this video, who goes to a conference. I seem to this day, startle people when I'm at a conference because I don't just go to the hotel, give my talk, go back, and then fly out. I'm there for the conference. My least effective time at a conference is that hour I spend, or usually more because I talk a lot, on the stage talking to people because I'm talking at them. I'm sitting on the floor in a hallway sometimes, waiting for someone to come up and talk. It's like I'm walking through the corridor. It takes me sometimes 30 minutes to an hour to get up to my hotel room to go to the bathroom because I'm constantly being, people are questioning me or talking to me and wanting to say hello. And that's totally fine. And that's 100% what I enjoy because I'm known for some Invisalign braces stuff at this place. You get me on the casino floor, that mother looks sketchy AF. Do not let him around the jack tables. And please make sure he stays on that side of the, and that's not a judgment call. I mean, that's a pretty good observation. It's like, I look sketchy AF. It's like a person who is a brother to me. He was the best man at my wedding, my blood brother by family. I don't talk to, he's the only one that actually I still talk to in my family. Actually, I've disowned all of them. But after my dad's death, there was no need to keep on the pretense. But my brother I still talk to, he was second to my best man. And my brother, it's literally the cliche, brother from another mother. I wish I was from another mother, but he is a person of color. And we used to always go out Wednesdays. And if you look at the acknowledgments in my book, it says, I think, Weldon for Wednesday. And it's like, because every Wednesday we would go to Pizza Hut or Pizza Inn and we do the buffet, make them regret it. It's like, because I was way younger then. And it's like, I tore through pizza. I wish I could do that now, but diabetes and my body has told me that was a very bad idea and poor life choices. So I'm trying to do better now. And then we would go see a movie and then we'd go hang out. And he told me one time, and I still remember this. He said, Jayson, you know, one of the things I like about you the most when we're hanging out? And he's like, what? It's like when we're walking through stores and malls, it's like, because of the way you look, people are less likely looking at me. and thinking, because I look, you think I look sketchy now, mother? No, I had a leather jacket on. I had like these bead things. I like badges. I like to accessorize. It's like, I mean, I would look 20-year-old me. A lot of that came out during the pandemic when you realize, like, man, Jayson's looking a little edgier. It's like, no, yeah, you don't want 20-year-old me. It's like there's been times in this pandemic where I've had people threaten to pull a gun on me. It's like I've had people threaten to take me out and fight because I was so upset about the fact that they were being so selfish with our lives that they would risk other people's lives by not wearing a mask. It's like, I'm trying to protect you by wearing a mask. You're not protecting me. You're a threat. And my brain, the way that my brain works is I did subconsciously see that as a potential threat to my life. So every single person I saw was an adversary. It's like, so I carry a knife anyway with me. It's like I've made it more prominent because I want it to be a warning label to people. Don't mess with me. I had someone, a lady in Walmart was like, is that a knife? Because mine's very prominent now and it's made, my knife's not made for show and it's not being worn for show. It's worn for ease of access so I can do it in one smooth motion and bring it out. And the lady says like, is that a knife? And I'm like, yes, it's a knife. And she's like, why are you wearing that? Accusatory, like I don't have a right to it. This is Texas. It's like, it's like a 18-year-old can carry a gun if they, buy it first. Can't buy beer, get a gun. Texas, America. And so, and I looked at her. I looked dead her in the eye. And remember, I don't filter, even on the best of days. And I told her, says, because I don't like guns, I really do hate them. And I want to make sure that I still want to make sure that I'm able to kill someone trying to kill me. And that stopped the conversation very quickly. And I just kept going about my way because I taught my daughter wants to protect herself because she understands it's like with the boobs come, the unwanted attention becomes the fear for her life, comes from the aggressors, come from unprovoked attacks, unwanted advances, horrible situations. Any moment of the day she has to go through that I will never experience at a conference, at a professional setting, at home. So she is also a person who doesn't like violence very much. And so I had to explain to her because I wanted to get her a blade and get her out because she was interested in doing those. And I don't like guns. I've had to give first aid to gunshot victims. I've had to arrest murder suspects with the body still there. I've just seen too much what the guns can do for me to actually be like, yeah, those are fun. I know other people do and enjoy that, and that's fine. I don't judge that. You can have 100 guns. I have 100 swords. I don't care. It's like, that's you living your life. As long as you're not hurting somebody else with those, I'm fine with it. If you're hunting animals and you're eating those animals, I am fine with it. If you're killing an animal and stuff, and putting its head on the wall because you think that makes your penis bigger, it's like your head needs to go right upside that wall, right with them, because that's the only function you're going to ever serve in life, is to be a warning for others. So yeah, it's like I've got that 20-year-old me came out a lot more. It's like where I was a lot more aggressive and more responding to that. So, and I was telling her because she wanted to just try to stab someone in the midsection or something. I said, no, this is the kind of blade that you're going to get. If anybody comes up to you and they mean you harm and they look like they're about to physically hurt you and they put hands on you, that blade goes right here in the back. Just because this is a better, stronger motion with your arm, you just go straight up into the back of the jaw to the base of their head. And it's like, and she's like, yeah, but that's going to kill them. It's like, I just want to hurt. No. It's like, you know how many people get sued by corpses? It's like that person was trying to hurt you. That person does not need to be around to hurt you further, except for maybe haunt you in your dreams. That's about it. It's like there's nothing else that person can do for you except for to die. And so people, I love people because I'm very progressive, and I think I'm too liberal for Democrats. But no, it's not just right and wrong. People have different shades. So yeah, don't come testing me. It's like, it's like, as I told a gentleman one time on the, back when I was listening to a lot of, I used to be a rapper. I'm not a rapper. I used to be a bouncer at a rap club. And I've met some really great people and had a couple people upset with me. But one of my favorite songs back then was Ice Cube. It's like, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, because these shotgun bullets are bad for your health. And I actually carried a shotgun with me on the job, and a guy came just like, "You really think you're Buffalo Bill with that?" And I just tapped the shotgun. I said, "Better check yourself." And it's like, and that was enough. They just kept walking. So it's like, but I present that it's because I'm not just one cookie cutter political beliefs. I'm not one cookie cutter religious belief. I'm not one cookie cultural. And to make those assumptions based on just how I talk or see a talk or you see some tweets is wrong for anybody. When we see people we disagree with, to just make an instant dismissal of them is wrong. I talked for over 3 hours to a Trump supporter. They currently still a Trump supporter. I was vehemently opposed to mostly everything that they were, but it was based in ignorance. No one ever tried to educate them. They all tried to change them and challenge them and tell them how they were wrong. It's one of the biggest things about religion that I hate. Jesus Christ never went to anyone and told them they were wrong. He showed them how to do it right and let people question him, saying, "Jesus, why are you doing it that way?" And then talk to them and educated them why that was the right way. He never stood down and judged someone and said, "This is wrong, and this is why you should feel wrong, and this is why you're going to hell." The only way a person can say another person is going to hell is when they are afraid of it and they think that that's a threat, because no one has that right to say that on this earth. It's like to say or judge who goes or anything. We all sin. Just because that person is sinning different than you doesn't justify your hatred toward them, because that's one of the worst sins. And it doesn't matter what faith you are or you don't have faith. I have friends with everyone because I believe them, and it's their choice to believe what they want to believe. Hindu, Buddhist, Taoist, atheist, Muslim, Jew, it doesn't matter. Episcopalian, Roman Catholic, Orthodox Catholic. Do you realize how many prejudices we have just within the Christian faith? Listen, wait till you hear some of those, Catholic jokes or Protestant jokes, Southern Baptist. Oh my God, I was raised Southern Baptist. Trust me, I have way too much experience with that. It's like to even joke about. So it's like, that's all ridiculous. You don't judge people by just what they tweet or what they look like, but how they act and how they interact over time. Because if you judged me when I was 20, you would not be listening to me now, and I would not be worthy of you to listen to me now. If you talked to me before 2005, before my father's death, where I started changing my outlook and actually dedicated myself to be a better person, you probably shouldn't have talked too much that to me then either. It's like, because I was way more self-centered back then. I was way more egotistical because I was very afraid of myself. Most egos, I think, and most arrogance comes from fear that people just don't want to admit about themselves. And so they project that confidence. They project like they're better when they're not. It's like, so yeah, that's what we have to understand. It's like you have to take everybody. And one last thing about the job thing, because I just now get back to it, my brain doesn't go into motions. It's like, but I've always got multiple channels of thought going at all times. And these are like the worst times where it's very obvious that happens. But I tell something, and no offense to my fellow, light-skinned colleagues of the male gender, but I always tell women and people of color, they ask me, it's like, how do I go to apply? How do I go for a job? And I mean this with sincerity. I don't mean this with humor. I mean, some of the best advice I can give you is try to channel your older, mediocre white dude. Okay? As an older, mediocre white dude, have never been in a job interview or applied for a job where I was like, well, I may not be qualified for all of that. Or they're asking for these tasks. It's like, and I don't really know those. No, you ask a mediocre white dude on a job, can you do this? Oh yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, I can. They're mentally thinking of the Google searches they'll be performing, as soon as this interview is over. But they'll say yes. They'll have that confidence that they can do it. Most, especially women, it's like literally you gatekeep the worst. You gatekeep yourself. You contain and you like make the expectations like, well, I don't know if I could get that. I don't know if I could do that. Or it's like, I don't know. Well, I don't know all those things. You are way more harsh and realistic on what your abilities are supposed to be in a job than the person trying to hire you. It's like all the time. That's not like is he full of crap? Is that no? That's just truth. It's like, but no, you need to understand. We have to stop self-gatekeeping. I had a friend of mine who helps organize one of the biggest, best hacking conferences in Europe, La Hack. And we were having dinner, and he was telling me about these things that he was doing at his work, at his job, with like building Kismet, wireless IDS intrusion into systems, open source, doing all these technical hacking things. And then 15 minutes in the conversation, he tells me, yeah, I sometimes I feel like a fraud working on this conference when I'm not really a hacker. I'm not really in the industry. And I'm like, who told you that? Why are you gatekeeping? Why are you gatekeeping yourself? You just talked to me about wireless intrusion detection systems you created. Stop. I don't like you gatekeeping you. It's like, that sucks. That's a very sucky thing about you. You need to change. I don't filter people. And it's like, and so I called him out in the conference. I didn't call him by name, but you can see the keynote. It's on there too from La Hack, where I talked a little bit about gatekeeping. My talk last year at Disobey, which was the only one done in real life because it was in February in Finland, before, in the before times. It's like, I talked a lot about gatekeeping there too. But we have to stop self-gatekeeping. We have to stop putting ourselves in those boxes. We're hackers. There's no such thing as a box. Okay? It's like there is no such thing as something we can't do. There's not something that we can't learn with time and passion and curiosity. There is nothing in this world that you can't do with enough time and energy and experience. It's like, and yes, it is harder for people that look like you than it does look like me. And that is unfair. It's like Calvin says, it's like, I know life is unfair, but I want it to be unfair in my favor every once in a while. Well, I was genetically born with the cheat code, the Capcom cheat code, because of this. Opportunities that I had, even being poor and a high school dropout and homeless, which sounds very inspiring and like, ooh, Hallmark time. No. My success should infuriate a lot of other people that are more talented, that are more dedicated, that didn't waste their time like I did throughout my 20s, not knowing if I was going to exist. It's like, and do something with their lives, who are doing things, who have gone to college, who have learned and are applying, but because of their gender or their identity of their gender or their skin color or their culture, they're denied these opportunities. That's infuriating. It's like, and that's another thing. I get mad on stage. It's like, I get mad on stage. It's like, and I start talking and everybody's like, preach. It's like, oh, he's doing it. He's passionate about what he's talking about. He's passionate. He believes in what he says. Woman of color get on stage. That girl, black girl's angry. Why is she so angry? That's such an angry black girl. I don't know. You need to calm down. Why is it always a certain type of people always talking about other people as snowflakes or other people and other minorities as fragile, or because they're complaining about the systemic racism? They're complaining about the actual true burdens of their life that are under jeopardy and under threat of being exterminated. And whenever one of them stand up and has the audacity to say, no, not today. It's like, you can't treat me like that. All of a sudden, like, you need to calm down. Whoa, you're a little reacting too much there. When they were the first one to bow up in the first place. It's like, have you ever noticed, and I brought this up before in my Trevor Hackers talk, it's like, have you ever noticed that if you look at how the technology for cell phones and UFO sightings, their change, as soon as we got mobile devices freely available with cameras, a lot less UFO sightings. Strange. But have you noticed that with all these cell phones with cameras, did you see an increase in police brutality and racial injustice in action by law enforcement to people of color? Yeah. And there are a lot of people who, no fault of their own and their own ignorance, are literally sitting back going, how did this get so bad? How did this happen? It's like, that's a bad apple. It's like, how did they let that man die like that? That was just wrong. That's just one of the, that doesn't happen in our neighborhood. We have a quieter, that's never happened to me. I've never felt unsafe in my bed. It's like, I've never felt unsafe sleeping in my car. I've never felt safe being an NRA member with an actual NRA member card in my wallet, getting shot by the police because I had a legal carried a gun in my vehicle. But for a black person, that is something that they've known all along. That is something that they have lived with. When they're being programmed from birth, from manufacturing, they have to have a whole separate instructions. And when one subset of your meat robot population has to have a certain subset of programs just to deal and make sure that they look safe for other populations of the meat robot population, that's a flaw in the system. That is wrong, and that needs to be corrected. But we're having a hard time doing that because it benefits that same population. Systemic racism benefits me. Systemic racism benefits my children. It doesn't matter. It's wrong. And until we get more people who benefit from it to explain to everyone that it's wrong, it is going to be very hard to change. Because thousands of years, people have talked about it. For hundreds of years in this country, people have talked about it. They have railed against it. They have fought against it. They have died against it. But it's because they were the ones that were impacted. It was their lives to lose because they would probably have lost their lives anyway, who had nothing to lose. And that's the problem. So I always tell people when they come to me and say, I want to be an ally, how do I do that? Shut up. You do it by shutting up and amplifying. I always try, whenever I see someone who's got a good message out there and I see them, I try to retweet them. I don't quote retweet them. I retweet them. I amplify their voice. I don't co-op it. That is their story to give. Allow them to give it. And also listen more. It is still uncomfortable. I was talking to a certain someone. It's like, and she was telling me, it's like, she's Mexican. She's Mexican. It's like, and in this country, we use that word sometimes, especially in my culture, like it's different from Latina or Hispanic. It's like, no, she's Mexican. It's like her family originated from Mexico. It's like she's first generation Mexican. It's like, that's nothing wrong. I'm not French. I'm not Welsh. It's like, I'm American. It's like, it's just because of my Caucasian thing. It's like, I think it's like racist. It's like when we talk about, like, we ask someone and we ask someone from their identity, it's like, oh, are you from China? Are you Chinese? Are you Japanese? Are you Korean? I'm American. It's like, you know what? It's like, what would happen if people of other colors start going to white people, go like, are you French? You Italian? You look a little Irish. You got some Irish. You from Ireland? It's like, you're like, I'm from the Bronx. So almost the same thing. It's like racist. That is inherently, because I'm assuming because of what you look like, what culture or ethnicity you come from. No, America is its own ethnicity. The reason why we say, I think, African Americans so much is because we destroyed their ethnicity by bringing them over in ships. Because tribes used to war with each other before white men got involved, and instead of killing the other members, they were brought in as servants, or they had indentured servitude like the Europeans did. But they were different tribes. It was very tribal. There's still a lot of different tribes in Africa to this day. It's like, I used to date a girl from the Maasai tribe from Kenya. It's like, there's a lot of different tribes out there. People in this country now who are growing up like this had that denied them. They can't be from that tribe anymore because they don't know which one it was. And we forget that this society that we built was also wiping out their ethnicity. So we say general African American because we can't tell and they can't understand what their ethnicity was.
Yeah, absolutely. I just have one more question for you because I see that we're way.
And I need to shut up. Yes, I'm sorry, I talk too much.
Oh no, I definitely have enjoyed this conversation. My last question for you is: now that you're at legendary dentist status, what does world domination look like for you? What is next? What is when? How do you know when you've achieved success as far as you're concerned?
I will never know when I achieve success because I will always still think that I could do more and done more. It's like I still have so much to learn. I'm now relearning a lot of the technical stuff and the hardware. I'm building out more equipment. I'd been crippled by fear before I started taking the medication and my ADHD. It's like I had been crippled by fear of failure, public failure. I have realized, especially over 2020, my biggest form of success is I give less now. It's like I'm allowed to say this to you and talk the way that I've talked because of my status. And also because it's a white guy saying it. But it's like, but because of this, I'm able to say this in the community because even the people who don't like me, and there are a lot of them. I have screwed people over before in the past. I have done people wrong. It's like, and I've tried to right that wrong, and I've tried to acknowledge those wrongs. And I've had people wrong me. It's like, and some have tried and some haven't tried to right those wrongs. It doesn't matter. My wrongs are what matter, and me fixing those matter. It's like, so I don't have everybody that likes me. And some people deserve not to like me. I can't create their forgiveness. It's like I can also, sometimes I have to accept that they don't like me. And that's all it's going to be. But I don't have hate toward them. I don't dislike them. It's like, I agree with what they have. They were wrong. They deserve that feeling of hating on me. Some people do it unjustly, and some are just trolls and they just like to hate, and they feel better about their minuscule, insignificant lives by trying to make other people feel bad. That's usually on YouTube and Reddit. You can find them. 4chan is just a cesspool. So it's like, but I have the comfort and the ability now not to care. It doesn't impact me and my job and my career. So I have that. So that's one of my business biggest successes, is that I can speak truth that is uncomfortable and unwanted and not get too much of a negative impact on it. I get some on the side. I'll get tweets. I get people that randomly troll me and do other things. But I've been doxxed several times. It's like my address. You can easily find out where I live. But also that is the reason why I have a whole bunch of security systems and I have weapons. It's like, because it's like there's only certain things that I can defend. But when my success is when I die, that is my success. And when I'm on my deathbed, let's be honest, it's going to be sudden and unexpected, but also pretty expected. It's like, because it's usually going to be like, well, that wasn't so awesome if I had the chance to say something. It's like, and if I ever get to be old enough to be on my deathbed, it's going to be not how much money I made, how successful my jobs were. Did I do right by people? Did I do right by my families? Did I do right by the people who counted on me and the people who loved me? Did I do right by my community? Did I make it a better place than when I left? It's the old Boy Scout in me, before you realize how creepy they were. It's like, did I leave the place better than when I found it? Did I make the right choices to help the most? That's all we can do. And that's all we can ask, really. People like that are successful. People that you will miss further out, and that their children will know about. That's a success. Nothing else in this world can be attainable as a success if you're not making other people's lives better. The only reason you get a blessing is to share that blessing. The Lord has never blessed a person on this planet for them to keep it for themselves. Blessings are to be shared. And if you can't share it, it may not have been that blessing. It's like, or you may not be getting more. So it's like, that's my only success, is that, and that you can say when I'm dead, that he shared his blessings and he tried to make the world a better place. And saying that I was a good human first, before you say hacker or security professional. It's like that I was actually a human worth remembering for the good that they did.
This has absolutely been amazing. Jayson, I thank you so much for coming out to talk with us. I'm going to see if I can track you down in DEF CON or Black Hat to check you out. We appreciate you for sharing your Sunday with you. I try to make these go, like an hour to be respectful of your time, but I think that everybody is better for having spent this time with you. So I still thank you for coming out and hanging out with us.
One last thing. Mm-hmm. First time, the first time going to DEF CON, and hopefully you'll be recording so you can see it later. First time going to DEF CON, don't come in with expectations of what you want DEF CON to be. My biggest, I was a stupid idiot. I mean, literally legit. I was ridiculous my first trip to DEF CON. Because I wanted it to be what I expected it to be. I spray painted her my blue. There's pictures. It was disturbing. It's like I just took pictures of everybody. I didn't have good conversations. I had lots of selfies. It's like and it was a horrible time. It's like, be open for communications, be open for experiences. DEF CON has something for everyone. This year it's limited, yes. But like next year, it'll be hopefully back stronger than before. So there is going to be, no matter what you're passionate about understand there will be hundreds or thousands of people that are just like you. They may not look like you, but they're just like you, that have the same curiosity and passion. You can find them at DEF CON. That's what brings DEF CON together. That's what makes DEF CON different than any other hacking conference. That is the reason why I'm their global ambassador, because it's that kind of sharing. So don't be shy. Don't be hesitant, because hacking and DEF CON is not about what you look like or what gender you are. It's about what you know and what you're passionate about. Show us what you want to learn. Let us help you teach it and learn it. And then you start sharing that and teaching it to others. Adam Lurie taught me that. He was someone that I inspired to be at DEF CON 12, because I was an idiot then. I was pretty much an idiot in DEF CON 13 too. It wasn't until DEF CON 14 I started getting my act together, just being honest. It's like, but Adam Lurie, Major Malfunction, FX from the Phenolic crew. It's like two major rock stars, Dan Kaminsky. They still treated me, this noob, this inexperienced idiot with blue spray painted hair and a flashy dragon shirt. They treated me like I was a hacker. They treated me like someone that was going to be learning, even though I hadn't obviously learned then. That's what DEF CON is about.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I think most of the folks who are going
Can't wait to see you there. I'll see you with a mask on, but it's like, I'll see you there. It's like,
I will definitely be there with a mask. So.
Yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, I'm vaccinated now and I'm feeling more confident. So I'm down to wearing like one mask every month instead of the three. It's like the first few months after getting vaccinated, I went down from 3 to 2. And now I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with wearing, just one day-to-day stuff. But trust me, at DEF CON, I'll probably be wearing 2. I'll probably be wearing my filtration mask, and then I'll probably put my DEF CON goon mask that I've got from last year over it, or something else that's silly. But I'll be double masked.
That's dope.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming out and hanging out with us today. And I appreciate your honesty also. So
no worries.
Everyone have a good night.
Some do, and I appreciate when they do. So it's like, thank you.